Hey, what's up? Today I'm gonna show you what I use and what I used to use. This is mainly showing the start of the modular system. Before the modular system, I just used the Innovation Circuit tracks and the small case, but this is basically where it started. Before the modular setup even got started, I got really into Novation's products. So right there is the Novation X station, mono station, and circuit tracks. Both are like all really awesome pieces of hardware. I especially kind of regret getting rid of the X station because it had like its own audio interface, two inputs, its own effects section. It was really cool. Virtual analog is really awesome, I think. Anytime you want it to sound better, you just need to add some distortion. So this was a jam I made quite some time ago. And we also got the Behringer TD3, which is a 303 clone. I love the 303 so much. It's something that's made a lot of appearances in a lot of releases I've made. Because as I was teaching myself music production, I felt the need to like practice a genre. I was like, oh, I'll do acid house. And so far that has worked out. It gave me a lot of opportunities to practice and learn arrangements through selecting kind of a genre to fiddle around with. But these are the main pieces of hardware that got me into hardware synths and stuff. The Novation Circuit tracks especially is extremely powerful. You have two individual synth engines that you could use that are either monophonic or polyphonic depending on how you patch them with the online editor. 4 drum voices, and on top of that you could sequence 2 external synthesizers as well, which is what I'm doing here. I believe I'm not using any of the internal synth voices though on the circuit tracks. I'm just using a Novation Circuit voice, or no, X station voice, the TD3 and the mono station. The mono station is also an amazing synthesizer in its own right. Partially regret getting rid of that, but I felt like it was fine. I really wanted to get into modular, and that kind of is what led me to swap some stuff out. What I was really looking for a while was something to mangle and chop breaks kind of on the fly. I feel like I kind of found that over time, and it's really fun. But the Erica Synth sample drum is a really good module, but it does take some time to learn its little quirks and limitations and then kind of build around them. On the silly path it took to eventually save up enough money for a modular setup, I ended up getting a JDXI. It's a pretty good synthesizer. I kind of was starting to see the Novation Circuit as the centerpiece to everything that I could kind of sequence other stuff with. And on, I would say most of my recent, like newer releases, that's kind of what it did, you know, either if I was sequencing maybe 1 or 2 modular voices or some external stuff or even some plugins. The Novation Circuit was able to kind of like do all that. It's really awesome. It also has its own internal compressor, so if you route external audio through it, it just makes things fit in a really good way as long as you're gain staging properly and stuff and nothing's clipping in too crazy of a way. After a while I ended up being able to assemble a larger system for the modular. Some of the modules I started out with I ended up getting rid of. But eventually I ended up landing on some pretty neat stuff that I feel like is gonna stick around for a while. I still have the Novation Circuit tracks because it's amazing, and as soon as I actually get a MIDI to CV converter, I'll actually be able to directly sequence the modular in a more consistent way. And that was kind of the interesting to learn during assembling the modular setup is what to prioritize when you're creating an instrument, what features you want to add. I feel like I ran into some mistakes that even manufacturers end up doing, like adding effects as a last minute choice. But I love this machine so much. Like I have only a couple oscillators, but like enough wave shapers and other wacky stuff to keep me busy for a while. We also have the new Ecto Core, which is really cool, which ended up kind of replacing the Erica Synth sample drum in a little bit of a way for me. The sample drum is more immediate, but the Ecto Core requires even more setup, but is really awesome. And some of the tracks I have coming up for the newest album will be using the Ecto Core a lot. My new favorite thing, though, has definitely been the Waldorf Blofeld. It is a really awesome virtual analog wavetable synthesizer with a lot of features. On paper, I should hate the synthesizer because there's barely any knobs, and the whole reason why I got into modular in the first place was for hands-on control, and this only has a little bit of it. The little button matrix it has, I guess, helps access some controls. And so far, besides like an audio interface and a computer, that's pretty much it. That's what I've used, what I've been using. Yeah. Thank you for watching and sticking around. And if you would like to hear some previews at like new work I'm doing and stuff, it's mainly on Patreon. The new album is probably going to release soon. Maybe. I don't know. It's gonna take a while, I think. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.